father of four. He's a first degree holder in petroleum engineering, and he has an MBA oil and gas management with over 21 years working experience in the oil and gas industry. It's my delight this evening to welcome Oladapo Filani to the Winning in Parenting Conference to share value with us. So I'm just going to bring him in. That Dapo for doing this with us. We are honored to have you here this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Welcome once again. It's good
Thank
to
you, Sandra.
have you here. You're welcome. So I have introduced you. I don't know if you'd like to introduce yourself again, but
No, the thing is, I did hear the introduction that you gave to me.
ooh,
But let me say one thing to everybody. The most
Okay.
important introduction in all she said, and the one I really am grateful to God for, and I really appreciate the fact that I'm a privileged married father of four. Because that's what qualifies me to be on this platform. Everything else doesn't matter. The most important gift you can have is to be a parent. And I think it's a rare privilege that one has to be a parent, and it's something that we shouldn't take for granted. So I think I'm grateful. Thanks a lot for having me. I'm also grateful to everybody that is here. I intend to spend the next few minutes with yourself to share my experience and to see in sharing my experience if I can sort of do that to impact. If it's just one person on the call, I'll be grateful for that. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. So the floor is yours. The floor is yours. Just
Oh,
go
okay.
ahead and,
Thank you. Where do I start from? Okay. Sandra didn't mention that, okay, I'm a married father of four. So I'm going to, yeah, I know. I'm just saying that prior to this time, this is what I tell people, this is my second sojourn in marriage. Not by my own desire, but just by nature of what I've experienced in life. Okay. So let me tell you, it's sometime in July 2012, I did have a very life-changing experience. And that's one thing which I'm going to share with everybody here today. So I had that, I don't want to say it's a rare privilege of having to walk up to my daughter, my first daughter, who was 9 years old then, to tell her, Simi, I failed you. Okay, which is something parents don't like to tell to children. And I'll tell you why. This was on a Sunday, I think Sunday the 23rd of July, 2012. And that's because the Thursday before that time, of course, she knew her mom had been going through a very bad spell of breast cancer. I don't like cancer for anything because it cost me something very important. Okay. And on the Thursday before that time, when I was taking the mom to the hospital because she went into a bit of a crisis, my daughter walked up to me to say, Daddy, my mom was not dying. So when a 9-year-old walks up to the dad and says, my mom was dying. So I told her, don't worry, she'll be fine. Deep down me, I knew the situation was bad, which is one thing I want to leave with all the parents on the call. Your job is not to preach hopelessness to your children. I knew it was bad. Even my wife, then my late wife, knew it was bad. We both knew it was a bad situation. But I turned up to her and said, don't worry, she'll be fine. I'll bring her back home. So 3 days after that time, I had the honor, a very difficult one. I don't pray to have that kind of experience again, of walking up to her, coming back home to her to say, Sammy, I'm sorry. She's gone. Okay? Something changed in me that day. Okay? And I want to tell you that there's some experiences you go through. People look at me and say, okay, you're strong, you're this, you're well put together. It's not the same. When you lose a spouse, and I tell people this nowadays, it's better not to get married than to lose a spouse. Because something leaves you that never gets fully replaced. Okay? So I start with when I knew, even up to today, when people say, how are you doing? Everybody say, I'm fine. Or the typical words we used to say is, everybody say, it is well. Okay? Let me be honest with you. 95% of the times I told people I'm fine, I wasn't fine. All I was just waiting for is, what can I tell these people to just let me be? Because people tend to want to make you relive your experience. They want to, when you say, okay, when they ask you, are you fine? They just want that psychological, okay, say it's fine, leave it. 95% of the time, I told people I was fine. Or I say the standard thing we all say, it is well. I was not fine. I was in a very, very bad state. bad state of mind. I was, you know, that feeling of you have a 6-month-old baby, then who is now 10 by the grace of God. Okay. I had a 6-month-old baby that was just dropped on my hands and said, okay, this is your baby. You got to take care of it. I had a 6-month-old baby. I had a son that was 7, and I had a daughter that was 9 at that time. Okay. So it's a life-changing experience. It's not something I wish for anybody else, but it's something I had to go through. And the first thing which I want to say is, if you're a single parent, either by the fact that you've lost your spouse, either by the fact that you're divorced or you're separated, whatever it might be, being a parent is a good thing. Okay? So I had to come to, one of the things I had to come to terms quickly with was to change my perspective around it. Say, yes, it has happened. Okay? It's a new journey. It's a new beginning. You got to brace up for this. Okay? So if for any reason you're a single parent on the forum, or you're even a parent and you're still together with your husband, because I tell people nowadays, when they are together, when the kind of emptiness you feel when your spouse is off is in this, I don't think there are words to describe it. So if you are together with your spouse, if you people are still quarreling, please sort out yourself, sort out your differences and stay together. Because there is strength in staying together when that separation occurs, either by death, which is what I have experienced before. The emptiness has no level. There's no way to describe it. You can only understand when you experience it, but I don't pray for anybody to experience it. So the first thing which I learned, which is the first lesson I want to share with everybody, is whatever circumstance you find yourself. Because I had to walk back to my daughter and say, well, you know, it has happened. And of course, the 3 of them were looking at the baby, couldn't understand, but the 9-year-old could. And you find out that your kids are looking at your face and they're looking to draw strength from you. Yes. They're looking for you to sort of see whether you put your head down and say, it's finished, or you're going to say, well, there's happened, we've got to brace up and keep moving. So the first thing I had to do was change my perspective, accept the fact that I can't change this in any way. Yeah. Okay? And the fact that I can't change it means I have to brace up for the journey ahead. So whatever you find yourself, either you're together, so it doesn't necessarily have to be the loss of the spouse. I'll make you as a parent do that. So first thing I want to sort of share with parents, first thing I learned is children do what we do, not what we say. Okay? So your children are going to be looking up to you to see, especially when you're in a challenging situation, is mommy or daddy going to lose hope? Is mommy or daddy going to say there's no future? Is mommy or daddy going to confess the wrong things? So the first thing I learned was, even though I was in a very, very bad place, I never for one day, and I thank God for the strength, I never for one day confess hopelessness to the children. I never for one day allowed the children to see me cry. I can tell you for free, the days when I still think, up to today, when I think of my experience, I still allow the tears come down. Okay, so nothing wrong in being a man and crying. All those things that men don't cry, I don't believe in. You have to let it out. Yes. So first thing is, please, wherever you are, as a parent, do not preach hopelessness to your children. If you give up and they see you, they can observe you. They don't have to see you say it. They can observe you. Once you give up, your kids will follow you down the line. Okay? So the first thing is, which I learned is, please do not preach hopelessness. Always have a positive outlook. It's going to be challenging. And the thing which I learned in life is, God did not promise us that it will be perfect. I had to make peace with that. Because at the time my first wife passed, I was cruising. I tell people my plane was flying at 37,000. I was in business class of marriage. And it just went boom. Okay. And I had to brace up to that. So that's the first thing. Second thing, which I know, and it's something we all face, because nowadays there's a lot of challenges in the world. The battleground is in your mind. Okay. So where you have to fight a battle as a parent, you wake up, your kids have, in my own case, it was a case of, okay, you now have a 6-month-old baby. I was a spoiled daddy before that. And I had to learn how to change diaper, how to wake up in the middle of the night, to prepare milk, all the things, all the women in the house, I appreciate you, you're blessed. I have to learn how to do all those things, okay? So I turned a difficult situation into a learning experience. So whatever situation you find yourself, there's always a silver lining in it. You can learn something. So I remember several times I had to travel I get to the airport and they ask me the difficult questions. Where's your spouse? I say she's late. Everybody will try and go down, PT, party. I say, no, don't worry, we're good. Even my kids will say, we're good. She's gone to a better place and all that. So don't allow pity party in whatever you find yourself, especially not in the presence of your kids. So the first thing is have a positive expectation, preach hope, and do something about it. So you need to take action. Whatever difficult situation you find yourself, settle it quickly in your mind, because the battleground is in the mind. In my own case, I went into depression for some time. My mind was upside down in different ways. I didn't show it to the children. Okay, I say that again. But I knew I was in a bad place and I had to fix my mind. And whatever, the moment you lose confidence in your mind, your productivity or your creativity and everything will go down. So second thing which you have to do as a parent, especially in today's world, because we live in a world where everything on the physical that we see seems to be going upside down. You have to fight the battle of the mind. You have to hold it together. Okay. And fighting the battle of the mind is the second thing I learned. I had to. And I fought that for a little short of 3 years before I could get myself back on my feet. On the outside, I was normal. So trust me. If you see me on the outside, I was my Monday best. I was bubbly. I was moving up and down. But deep down me, I knew I was dying. And I knew something had to change. And in fighting the battle of the mind, I had to change my habits. I had to start learning how to what I read, what I watch. I went to the extreme. And these are things that you can learn yourself, because it's whatever you think of, is what you take in. It's garbage in, garbage out. So I had to control my intake of what I read. And in this, you can imagine when you go to a doctor and you say you're depressed and they say you have to stop watching negative things. I was waiting for that magic pill. And it says, well, you have to condition your inflow. That's when I started learning about the power of the subconscious mind and the power of the mind and all the things to do. It's in Proverbs that we all know. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. I cling to that. And I fed on it for a long time. And that's something that helped me. So the first thing is always preach hope, no matter where you find yourself. You have to acquire the right knowledge to keep you going. And you have to fight the battle of the mind. That's the second thing which I want to also sort of leave as a nugget for everybody to learn today. Whether you're divorced, single, or you're together as a parent, you will fight challenges. And your children are looking up to you to be that warrior. If you're the father, they expect you to be the head. Even in whatever difficult circumstance. And I'll give you a story. When my first son, who is in final year of secondary school, was graduating from his primary school, and he was on the pupils giving his valedictory note. And I say, who are your heroes in life? He says, it's Lionel Messi and my dad. This was about 5 years after his mom passed. And they asked him, so why? Why? He said, because the two of them have a never give up attitude. They never give up. The tears was coming down my eyes while I was sitting in the audience. And I then tried to relate to Lionel Messi. Was said to be an invalid when he was a young person. When he got to Barcelona, was rejected by a lot of clubs. I don't have to tell you, everybody knows what the guy is worth today. Okay, but he didn't give up. I said my dad has a never give up attitude, which means he was watching me when I was going through a bad spell, and from that he's drawn strength to say, we can do this, we can keep going. So as a parent, watch what you do, not just what you say. Watch. Make sure your attitude, your demeanor, and everything you do, preach hope and preach there is life at the end of this tunnel, there is light and all that to your kids. Okay? And then the other thing which I found out in coming out of it, and I'll stop at this point, is I want to give room to be able to take questions from people and be able to share, because I can use questions to share my experience, is the future, the past is irretrievable, but the future is available. Okay? So it was a case of I could choose to wallow in self-pity, stay in that state of, okay, I've lost a spouse, I'm in a bad state, I have 4 children. No, I had 3 then. Okay. I have a baby, 6-month-old baby. I used to take my baby to kindergarten. Everybody wondering, so where's the mom? Every day, I left with the consequences of that every day. People ask me all sorts of questions. But instead of, I never allowed pity party. So when you ask me, I tell you, she's gone a better place. She's left this difficult world. She's left me with 3 beautiful kids, and we're going. We're good. Okay? So the thing is, don't allow pity party. Don't give up hope. fight the battle of the mind. And then the future depends on what you do in the present moment. Your past is not a determinant of your future. Your past is meant to be a learning experience. So I learned from mine. And I tell people, so if you ask me this, have I gotten out of it completely? You don't get over these things. Okay? You don't get whatever you've experienced it. It's now a function of what you do with it. Okay, so I've also come to learn, because you can spend the rest of your life trying to get over a bad experience. No need. Just make it a learning experience and turn it into something good. Okay, so your future, everybody listening, your future is not a function of what happened yesterday. Whether you're single, you're together, you're going through challenges, you lost a job or whatever, it doesn't matter. You've experienced it, So I have to make peace quickly with it. I've experienced it. Now the question is, what am I going to do going forward? What do I need to do different? And I have to go and unlearn a few things, and I have to go and learn a new set of things. There's power in knowledge, but there's power in applied knowledge. Above all things, it's by the grace of God that I'm talking to you. Okay? So I found that you have to declare the kind of access you need to ask for help from above. Okay? You need support system around you. But the first support system which you all have for free, is your mind. So most of us, we tend to be looking for solutions outside. The first place you need to fix is in your mind. Because if you can see it in your mind, if you can see a new life in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. But if you cannot see it, because most times we pray, we fast, but in our mind we doubt. If you cannot see it, it's a principle that would not change till this world is over. If you can see it in your mind and you can picture yourself in a new state, then you can have it. I am a living witness of that. Okay. At this point, I'll stop and I'll take any questions that anybody may have at this time. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. We have questions. I know someone was asking. Okay, please, do you have any questions? That is ready to answer your questions.
So the thing is, let me just to encourage everybody to ask. Okay. The first one thing is, we grew up in our society growing up. They tell you have to be a man. That means you have to hold your things here. Don't share your challenges. Don't. Hello. If I kept quiet and I did not seek for help, I'll probably be dead by now. Okay. Because you have to get to a realization that I am in trouble. I am out of balance. I need help. And then you go and do research on the type of help you need and go and find it. There's nothing wrong in going to look for a coach. There's nothing wrong in going to, if you need medical help, go and ask for it. You can have faith. Yes, we believe in healing. Yes. I believe and in fact, I prayed the kind of desperate prayers I prayed when I was going through a bad state. I don't pray those kind of prayers anymore, but I had access. I was having conversations. So it wasn't a prayer, 10 hours kind of prayer. I sit down, I'm carrying my 6-month-old baby, feeding her in the middle of the night, and I'm talking to God. You allow this happen to me. You have to fix this. You have to help me get out of this. And he did show up for me in several ways. But I can talk for that for the rest of the day, but I'm not going to do that. But the main thing I want to say is there's always power when you share, when you unload your mind. Because if you keep stress in your mind, the body is not designed to take stress. When you indwell or you absorb too much and you don't share it, your body has a tendency to get out of balance. And disease is typically unease in the body. That's the way it starts. Okay. So there's nothing wrong. Share of the only thing is find the right person to share with. Okay. So it's not everybody that you go to. If you need spiritual help, go look for it. If you need medical help, go and look for it. If you need advice, find the right advice. And nowadays, one thing which I also want to share with all of you that helped me when I was in a bad state was I use the internet. Okay. I conditioned the kind of things I listen to. I found the right music that was soothing for me. I went to read about how to take advantage of it. I went into Proverbs. Every single verse or proverb I read. And I tell you, that proverb has everything we need in life. In my case, it was a case of I have to survive it as a 6-month-old baby. Because after the marriage passed, my daughter then came to me. She probably doesn't remember. Okay, something. Mommy is gone. Nothing must happen to you. So give me your commitment that nothing must happen to you. And then that was my turnaround. So, okay, serious business. I need to get things done. Am I perfect nowadays? No, work in progress. But I know that key things. Do never preach hopelessness to your children. And it's not just by what you say, it's by what you do. Condition your habits. If you want to be successful, there are success principles that you need to follow. Okay? And then the future depends on what you do today. So please feel free to please ask me. I typically, when I come on, it's challenging, I have to tell you, because when I woke up this morning, I was thinking, do you really want to talk about this again? Because every time I talk about it, it brings back emotions, it brings back a lot of stuff. But what I now know is I made a pledge to God that if I survived it, I will share out my experience. So please.
Wow, thank you so much. I can only imagine how difficult this is for you. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. Okay, somebody asked how you helped your children process the grief of losing their mother.
Okay. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
The first thing is we live in a society where people like to beat around the bush. You think they're too young. They don't know what has happened. Don't tell them the way it is. Okay? There were different ages when I had a 6-month-old that didn't know. Up to today, she doesn't. If she sees her mom on the street, she doesn't know her mom. She's accepted my current wife as a mom. Okay? No, she doesn't know her mom, but she knew that at least she knows the story. Okay? But the 9-year-old and the 7-year-old person, we sat down in the room. Mommy is not coming back. Mommy is gone. However, mommy wanted you to go to this type of school. You will go to that school. Mommy wanted you to be top of your class. All I need you to do now is to do everything mommy wanted you to do. She was a good woman. She was a nice person. You miss her, I miss her. Don't worry. But we can't say because we miss her, we don't do what you want her to do. So I had frank conversations with my kids. Okay? And I still do till today. That's one thing I gained from it. My children have access to me. We talk. We don't, it's not the usual, daddy has arrived at the house, everybody take off. No. Okay? So one way to help them process is don't assume they don't know. I don't assume they're too young. When they ask you difficult questions, answer those difficult questions. When I turned 40, by that time, my 6-month-old baby, I turned like 3 or 4. So I asked me all sort of questions. Why is it that my mommy doesn't come to the house to visit us? Why is it that is mommy coming for your birthday? Is mommy coming for this? Did you fight with mom? Because she started knowing that, okay, in school, she goes to school, that she's the only one only daddy brings her to school. Mommy doesn't show up. And all our friends are daddy and mom. So she started asking me also, and I sat her down to say, now you're old enough to know the mom is done. She's in heaven. And she asked me, can we go and visit her in heaven? I said,
oh my God.
I said, what kind of question is that? You can't, but I didn't say what kind of question is that. I told her, you see, that place when you fly there, you don't come back. I said, then that means Jesus is wicked. Why can't he hold mommy where only one person can go and not come back? I said, well, don't worry. It's time. There's time for everybody to go there, but she's asked us to stay here. She's watching over. So it's about being open, have open conversations, spend a lot of time with them. Before then, I was an absentee dad, so I used to work, and I still try to do a lot of good work. Thank God for that. But I became more involved. So spend time with them. They need you, all the support. You can chase money, you can chase comfort, but they need you more than ever before at that time. So it's about open communication, frank, upfront. Don't beat around the bush. This is not going to change. The only thing that will change is that we're going to make the best out of this, and we're going to keep moving.
Yeah. Wow. Somebody said listening to you is even hard. I can attest to it. We salute your courage, sir, and we know that it is God that has helped you, this far.
No, I think let me say one thing for free. This is a parenting conference. At times I think about it that maybe if I wasn't a parent, I'd probably be dead. because my children give me a reason to fight. You know, and I tell people today that I live with the consequences of what I've experienced. Because some 2 days ago, my neighbor was having a party in my estate, and I met an old friend of my first wife that I haven't seen maybe in the last 10 years at the party. And I said, okay. Say, how are you, Doc? I'm sorry, I haven't checked on you in a long time. I said, well, it's okay, I'm good. I'm growing. Because people get tired. So when you're in grief, don't expect people to be, you have to do it. God has to help you to do it, and you alone. People will get tired. The traffic will reduce. So I braced up to that quickly. I mean, my siblings, God bless them. My mom, God bless her, and all that. I don't even want to say I lost my dad a few months after my first wife, but that's not an issue of today. So I then told her, come and see the children. You know, as I opened the door, she saw my first daughter, and she just started crying. Said she can see the face of my first wife in her face. And said she can't take it. She couldn't even talk to the kids. Just say, I'll see you. I don't want him to see me cry. And all. I said, so what? I said, why are you crying? He said, because I can see. I said, well, listen, I sleep and I wake up with that face. So every day. At times when I look at the children, I'm like, okay, come on now. Why like this? They give me the same impression, the same look of the mom. I'm like, okay. But deep down me, I smile. I tell them in those moments that you are blessed, you know, you had a good mom. Yes, God has blessed you with another mom now, but you had a good mom. And I enjoyed, I can tell you for free. Me, I enjoyed marriage. That's why I went again. Because people can wonder, why did I go again? She was a good woman. When they say, either find a wife, find a good thing, I did. Which is why for a long time, I was a bit angry with about God. Now, why? Young boy like me, why? But he has done something good out of it for me. Okay, so whatever challenges you're going through, it can turn around and turn into a good thing. Okay?
Wow.
How long did you? Okay. You see?
Oh my God.
I was a single dad for 6 years.
Wow.
Okay. In those 6 years, of course, I had a lot of good people around me. Everybody who wants to introduce me to somebody, meet somebody. The Bible says that finding the wife. So when I was married, I was with my first wife for about 18 years. So I married for 10 years. She died 3 days to our 10th wedding anniversary. We were university lovebirds. So we had become friends. So because of that experience of what I went through, I told myself subconsciously, I am not doing this again. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell my mom. I told myself. So all the years they were trying to introduce me to people, I will self-sabotage it. Subconscious. I was always looking for the next excuse to take off. Because I didn't want to have to go through the process of, because you know when you have a good thing and you lose it, it's difficult.
Yeah.
And the responsibility of being the one that is alive and the spouse has gone, it's tough. You know, the psychology of, okay, the weight of it, the mental torture and all that. I told myself I was going to go again. So it took me a long time to get mentally ready, subconsciously ready to go again. And the person that actually started prompting me to go again was the 6-month-old baby that turned like 5 or 6. I was always worrying me and worrying, where's mommy? Mommy is coming. I said, okay. Then my mom one day told me, you're taking care of all of us. Nobody's taking care of you. Right? Why are you all worrying me about it? So took me a bit of time. It took about 4.
It's better. Even if I'm not able to say, I wasn't able to save that one. I'm so glad. that I have it on Facebook and YouTube, so I'll just put up the link.
No, that's fine.
Very, very.
No worries.
It's been very tough so far. Thank you so much. I will keep saluting you, for walking this journey again, with us. So you were.
I think you should. What I can say is, please, just it's by the grace of God. Now, saying that the last thing I mentioned was this, because this is a parenting forum, okay? No matter what you're going through, one thing which I didn't do, I was tempted to think about it once in a while. Your children should never be a burden to you in your mind, okay? Because it was tough. I had to become daddy and mommy overnight. So it was really tough. Mentally, physically, spiritually, drained. But it also taught me a new level of responsibility. Okay? But it's what you call your children in your mind that they will become. Okay? So you either call them a blessing or you call them a burden. It's your choice. Okay? One thing which I always say, these are my blessings. I even started calling them my directors. Till today, I still call them my directors. So we run they're part of the system. And it became a good thing. So they were drawing strength. They probably thought they were drawing strength from me, but I was drawing strength from the fact that they were there. So they gave me a reason to fight, a reason to want to keep going. And every day when I wake up, and now I see, okay, my daughter is 18, she's going off to college. My son is about to finish secondary. The 10-year-old is there. We have conversations, and I'm like, every time I see them, I think I'm blessed. I'm privileged. I've gone.
So please be good.
Okay, but okay. Whatever the network do today, we will do what we need to do.
Wow.
Just ignore the network.
Yeah. Wow. So much high points.
So I think that there was a question about. There was a question I saw. Go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
Yes, about if you have a support group where you speak to bereaving dads. Yeah, I think somebody asked that question.
Okay, that's a very. I do have. Okay, let me. I have to say this carefully. Okay.
Okay.
The fact that I survived grief, I'm committed to for the rest of my, as far as I breathe, to provide support to grieving dads or moms. Okay. So yes, the answer is yes. Okay. And the reason is because as part of honoring my late wife, I've made up my mind that I will continue to share what God used to help me, because I was in a very bad state with 3 kids. My mind was going anywhere. I had a good job, and I still have a good job by the grace of God. If you had seen, like I said, everybody will see me that the guy is good. I drives a big car, drives a nice car, but I was dying inside. So yes, I can, and if you get in touch with you, they get my details. I will provide. I do provide that. But I have to say this: I don't want a lot of people getting into that boat. Every time I hear that a young person has lost the wife or the husband, why now? You know, where in our society, everybody likes to know the reason. People are going to be asking, what happened to him? Was he sick? I don't ask those questions. Because I've been there. That's not what the grieving person wants to hear. To make the person relive the story again. And let me tell you, 99% of the time, by the time they get out of the door, they don't remember the story. But they make you torture you by making you explain what they have gone through. Okay, so I don't ask. So I don't wish a lot of people in it. But if you're on a call and you've experienced it, first thing is make peace. It has happened. And it's an irreversible experience. So the first thing to healing is to accept it. Don't deny it has happened. You've experienced it. You now need to make the best out of it. Okay. And one thing which I didn't used to do is when they say, okay, how are you? I'm a widow. I'm a widow. It's what there's power in what you call yourself.
Oh.
Okay. Because when you took the vow, you say, until death do us part. That vow is not a nice vow. Because when you actually part, you part physically, spiritually, and it tries to drag you along. You have to part. Okay? Because if you don't part physically, spiritually, you can die off easily because something has left you. Okay? So what I then started changing, of course, I live with the consequences of somebody you love passed, yes. That's why I say I'm a single dad of 3. I started calling myself a single dad of 3. When they say, why are you a single dad? I once had a beautiful and good woman in my life. But God, in his mercy, decided to take her away. So stop calling yourself a widow or a widower. It's just a name. It's a name tag that or support. Change what you call yourself. And then, yes, if anybody wants me to work with him or her, I'm happy to work with it. It's an area I have a soft spot for that. But I don't want too many people joining it, please. It's not a good... I don't know the word to tell you. It's not... What is not good is not good. I used to tell people it is well. Please, when you are in it, you need something more than it is well. You need the contact with God from above.
Wow. Okay. This person says, I see situations where a dad may not realize the require support and will not reach out. I would want to share your story to encourage another to reach out to you so they may not realize the help. Okay, I'm trying to understand the question.
No, I can try and it's a function of how we all grow up.
Okay.
In this part of the world, you are brought up to say you have to be a man. You have to be men have to be strong. Because let me tell you the most painful thing for me. My dad, who was my major support system, passed 12 months after my first wife.
Oh.
Okay. That's when my mind came crashing down. This about a young man, wife, and dad. Okay. So when I got into depression, he's sleeping silently. It wasn't announced. I just woke up one day. I didn't have any interest in anything in the world again. You can be the most beautiful person you can be. I didn't have it, but I was still going out. I was still mingling with people. I come to work. I'm my best, but I knew I was dying. So we're in a society where they say men don't cry. Where is that written in the Bible that men don't cry? It's something we all inherited. It's a limiting belief we inherited from our generations. Men should not discuss. You should have to be a man. You have to man up. Hello? If you are on this call, you have a challenge. There's nothing like man up. Go and identify. First, accept you're in trouble. Next thing, identify the kind of help you need. And nowadays, there are resources. There are online resources. There are a lot of resources that you're one fingertip away from finding help. Just identify the challenge you have and go and find your help. Because, see, mortality rate for men is higher than women. The statistics to support that.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. But I know my layman training in that area. My mind of I've taken the weight from my mind. Okay. If you tell me no, you can't help. Every no is just the next step to getting a yes. Okay, so please, if you need help, go find it. Will be my advice.
Wow. I have a question.
Right.
The first time I heard you speak, you spoke about something about the fact that you just realized that the way a particular procedure was carried out on your late wife, in the hospital.
Yeah, that's right.
And I want you to just share a bit with the parents here, the importance of, you just mentioned something about the fact that men absorb a lot, and there's so many cases of cardiac arrest and all of that. What advice would you give when it comes to taking care of yourself? Like, there are some, I think that particularly talked about, knowing basic first aid tips, that you can use to rescue simple situations or easy situations. So what would you say about that? What advice would you give?
Okay.
What do we need to be abreast of?
The first thing is my blessing from above. My first wife, my dad, I can't call her my dad because she's late, but someone I hold very dear to my heart. That took a bit of me with her when she was left. Okay. She lived a good life. She impacted lives. She was just a good woman. Okay. Died of breast cancer.
Yes,
okay. I'll start with the breast cancer story. For every woman on the call, you need to understand your hormonal system. You need to understand whatever you put in your body. Before you put it in your body, you need to have at least start a routine of checking yourself, doing your annual checkups. Surrender yourself for annual checkups. We also live in the when they say what you don't know cannot kill you. Please check up on yourself. Find out if they find the worst that can happen, they find out something, fix it. At least you give yourself a fighting chance. So in my own case, there's school of thought, okay, maybe it's bad control injection that led to wasn't good enough and all that, because in our part of the world, they give one size fits all to everybody. So as a woman on the call, make sure you check yourself. Make sure you do your annuals. Check your breast, check your body, do your blood work. My first advice, self-care is not selfish, it's selfless. Because for the fact that you're a parent, you want to live long. You want to be around to take care. So please do your annuals, check yourself, and if there's a need for intervention, do it. The one I found out recently, which I mentioned to you the last time I met, was CPR. Okay?
Yeah.
I attended CPR is when somebody has a cardiac arrest and they're doing CPR to try and revive the person to come on. So I was privileged to attend the CPR training at work, at my current place of work, a few days before we had that conversation. And I found out then that the way the CPR was done in our hospital, the hospital where my wife passed, was wrong. 9 years down the line. Does it mean that if CPR is done right, the person would survive? Maybe not, but it gives you a fighting chance. But I was an illiterate. I did not know anything else. I did not know. Okay? So I tell people one thing which I've gained out of this as a positive is I've become more informed. I've become more informed about health. I've become more informed, extremely informed about the power of the mind. So I don't need anybody to preach the power of the mind to me. I've been depressed and I've come out of it just using what God gave to me free. So we all have this thing free, which is why we're all careless with it. Because what is free, we don't value. God has given us the most powerful tool on earth, which is the mind. So I know that. Okay? But it's power of taking care of yourself. And it's about what you do on a day-to-day basis. So I didn't know about CPR. I learned about it 8 years. Maybe if I had known. I told myself, this is how they do this. And I say, yes. Do they do CPR on the bed? No. They do CPR on the heart floor. I'm like, oh my God. So why were these people trying to do CPR for my little on the bed? They say that even in our hospital, some of our hospitals, they don't know any better. Okay? So ignorance is not an excuse for failure. Okay? Ignorance is a choice nowadays. And I say this with all sense of responsibility. Because 10 years ago, we didn't have as much access to data like we have. Nowadays, you are one button away from finding out the good, the bad, and the ugly. The only challenge is most of us use our data to find entertainment instead of finding information that will enrich our mind and prepare us for the day of battle. Because we will all fight one battle or the other. It's just a case of, are you prepared? It's going to come. I'm not saying that people will die or be sick, but you will fight the battle of the mind at some point in time. It's not a function of what do you have in your arsenal. So tips, learn about daily habits to take care of your health. Do your handles, please. Go walk in, surrender yourself. to be checked. Don't fear. Most of us, we fear what is not there. Okay? Check, fix yourself. And then for a woman, before anybody puts anything in your system, please find out what is going on. Are there any side effects? Does it have long-term effect or short-term effects? Is it chemical based? Is it organic based? Just find out. Ask questions, please. And learn better.
Question.
When someone is asking about CPR on the bed, the person that told me, the trainer were told, you need a hard ground. It helps when you have on a hard ground. Okay. It's about having a hard surface where you can put the impact. If a bed is, if it's soft, most of us have soft foams.
Soft bed,
it doesn't allow that impact of the CPR. So it's about lying the person on a hard ground and then applying the CPR in a systematic way. I'm sure most of you watched the Euro. There was a particular captain of one of the countries that collapsed on the pitch in Europe. And I was watching with my son, and my son said, "Oh no, the guy's collapsed." I said, "All right, that guy is in Europe, they'll fix him." I said it, that they'll fix him because I said, and see what I said, he's in Europe. They know what they're doing, they'll fix him. If it was in another part of the world, maybe in our own parts, we will have packed him up because we will all be saying Mogbe, blah, 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 and all that. No. The guy was there for 15, 20 minutes. They stopped the game. I'm sure anybody that watched the Denmark game will remember. I was the captain for the Denmark team. And they went, tan, tan, tan. The guys came back on the pitch before they took him to the hospital. He's alive today. So it's when I say knowledge, it's not just about CPR. Learn about, for instance, this is my jug of water. Because I've learned to drink. You have to, as a man, you have to take in 2.5 liters of water a day. Google is your friend, you can check it. As a woman, there's a volume of water you need to drink every day. I've heard people say, water is tasteless, I don't like it. Ejo, you need to drink. Just after this call, go and research, why do I need to drink water every day? What does it do to you? So it's about daily maintenance of your mind, body, and spirit. That's what keeps you going. I tell people, and I told you that day that you introduced me, I have this degree, I have that degree. For the significant part of my life, prior to my experience, I was an educated illiterate. I had all the degrees, but I didn't know the right things. And I did not apply the right things. What I'm praying for, I'm work in progress now. What I'm praying for is that ability to stay focused and applying things. And it's about just do one thing at a time. Don't try and change everything. Because I know when you want to lose weight, I will pay in the gym, you pay big money, you buy all the kits. After 2 days, you lose up. No, it's daily gradual changes. Thank you.
Wow, it's been an awesome, insightful, expository, and emotional conversation. What can I say, Dapo? Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Having to relieve. Okay, please go ahead.
No, I just want one thing which I told myself I'll add, okay? The last thing I've had, and I want to sort of leave this, if there are no other questions from this. You see, you can spend the last few days on this parenting conference and take all the notes. Like most of us will go to church on Sunday, we take all the notes. Okay? We can share all our experiences and all that. Okay? If you don't change anything after this parenting conference, nothing is going to change. So they say insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Okay? That's one. So you need to change some things. And change. When I was growing up as a young child, if I want to eat food, my mom will cook and will warm it on the gas cooker. If you had the privilege of having a gas cooker, not stove, you wait it out for it to get warm. But now we're in the microwave age. We put food in the microwave, quick, we just eat it. There's no microwave solution to change. It's another thing I found out. You have to pay the price. So there's a time to sow and there's a time to reap. Between sowing and reaping, there's time. So there's seed time, there's harvest time. So if you want to change anything in your life, don't expect a microwave solution. It's about learning unlearning bad things, learning the right things and applying it on a day-to-day basis. And then you wake up one day and your life is transformed.
Wow. So profound. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do we have any question? Any other question? Do we have any other question? Please, if you want to work with Dapo, he's not he didn't join with his business handle, but you can follow him on this handle, and when you get to his DM, he would attend to you. He will redirect you to his business handle. Please, if you are grieving right now, or if you know anybody, I know a lot of women in my community, that were supposed to be on this call.
Thank you very much.
Please, audience, if you know that this session blessed you, if you know that you learned things from this session, just say a big thank you to Dapo.
Thank you.
Before he leaves. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for having to go through all of this again. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the work that you do. You would definitely see my people knocking on your door. Please just open the door for them.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank
it
you.
Was really, it was somebody said it was an emotional roller coaster. It was, and so many highlights, so many takeaways. Thank you so much. I'm glad. I lost the first video, but I will save this one, but I'm going to get the YouTube link and the Facebook link. I'll put it up on my bio so you can watch the first part of this session. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Sandra.
We are most grateful for this session. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you. Thanks a million. I'm reading people's comments. Thank you so much, Dapo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks to all the parents.
All right.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to drop his details. Just stay behind. I'm going to drop all his details. Thank you so much, Dapo.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, dear parents, for staying. That was very emotional. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I believe you learned so many things from that. I can't say one or two things because I learned a lot. We need to be very, very aware of the things that are going on around us. We need to be health conscious. We need to take care of ourselves. We heard from, you saw the way I could not control the tears, even though I was trying to get a hold of myself. It's not a journey anybody wants to go on. Please let us take care of ourselves. Let us take care of our bodies. The Bible says all things are lawful, not all things are expedient. It's not everything that is flying about that you really need. We saw his job of water. I'm guilty of that. I don't like taking water, but nobody has to tell me again now. I'm going to get my bottle, just to put a check on myself. Please, let us do all we can. Some of the ladies have been privileged to talk to, speaking about their own experience. It's not a good experience. You heard what Dapo said. It's like a part of you leaves you. There's which vacuum? How do you want to fill that vacuum? So let us do all we can in our power, to ensure that we take care of ourselves. We should always have our children in mind. If, God forbid, if anything happens, your children are there. That alone should jolt us back to reality. Please, 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 please. I encourage us all here to, go go that extra mile, do your checks, eat right, especially our diets. You know, we're in the microwave generation. So many things, we just do everything 5 minutes, this one, that one, junk food, and all of that. Let us just try to, do things more intentionally. And I pray that God will continue to give us grace because, I mean, all of these things that we're saying, sometimes the Bible also says, I think it was Paul that was saying, the things he wants to do, he can't do them, but the things he doesn't want to do are the things he finds himself doing. So we have goals and everything. These are the things I want to do. I want to start drinking water. I want to start going to the gym. I want to start, eating right and all of that. But we find that we keep going on and on, in the opposite direction. So that's why we need grace, to do the things we ought to do. Thank you so much for joining us in this session. I'm really grateful, and I hope to see you. I hope to see you in our next session that starts at 5:30. We'll be talking to Stephanie Dwemel. She'll be talking to us about teenagers, how to help teenagers overcome social and emotional chaos. So I really hope to see you at 5:30. Thank you so much. Big thanks to you, Dapo. Thank you so much. So please, I'm going to share his details on my page. I'll share it. I'll edit the last post I made, with this picture. I'll edit that post. His details will be there. And when I'm posting quotes from his session, I'm going to put his details there as well. Okay, let me see if I can even pin it. Let me see if I can pin it. Absolute Mind NG. How do I pin this? Okay, that's his business. Okay, it's pinned. That's his business handle. Yes, so please just go there if you are grieving or you have any relative, somebody that just lost a spouse. Please go there, and Dapo is very willing to help. Thank you very much. For everyone that is just joining, please, I'm going to save this one on my IGTV, but I lost the first video. Thankfully, it's on YouTube and on Facebook. So at some point, I'm going to put the links on my bio so you can watch the full video. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.